Hello, warriors. In this short guide, I'll walk you through how to set up a Bambu Studio for 3D printing on our Bambu Lab printers and help you understand the essential setting to get your first print started with confidence. Whether you are a total beginner or just a new to the space, this guide is just for you. To get started, head to your browser of your choice and go to bambulab.com. Hover over software, go to Bambu Lab Studio and install the app. I already have it installed, so I will go back to uh, the desktop. Once installed, go ahead and launch Bambu Studio. On your first launch, Bambu Studio will ask you to set up the printer. You press Get Started or are in North America. Next. We don't necessarily have to join this event, so press Skip. So in this page, in Warrior Fab Lab, we'll use X1 carbon. So we'll clear everything and then only select X1 carbon. Press next. With this one, we're just gonna ignore it and then I'm gonna press next. For this one, we don't need to install it, so we'll press uncheck this one and then press finish. So from here, we're gonna press create new project. Once you're at this screen, we're gonna go over tools up here. The first tool is add. I'm gonna click on this one. What this will do is bring out all the downloaded files that you could get either from Thingiverse, Printables, Makerworld, and other 3D model sharing clouds out there. So for now, we're gonna demonstrate with using this model. That's so the add button allows to import or bring the model that you want to 3D print into the workspace. Next one is add plate. What this will do, once you press on it, it will create another workspace for you to mess around and work with different models. For this demonstration, we won't need this, so we're gonna press X on it and only focus on this plate. Next one is auto orient. What this will do is it will change the model to orient so that it is more favorable for 3D printers to 3D print. Right next to it, there's arrange all object. What that is once you have multiple objects on the build plate, you could choose different spacing or leave it at 0 for auto spacing. Also, you could check on these boxes for it to rotate in different areas so that you could fit multiple items into one bit plate. The next tool is move. Once you click on it, this object, you could move this object anywhere on workspace. But for the Z-axis, you cannot let it move because you can't, it will snap straight back to the build plate. Next one is rotate. You could select different planes, either X, Y, Z, and rotate model in specific degrees. If you have your cursor inside of the circle, it snaps into those little bars. If you have them outside, it's more freehand of rotating. The next tool is scale. Once you click on scale, what scale does is it decreases or increases how big the 3D print is. So our Z is currently 25.40 millimeters. If we want this to be bigger, we'll either grab whichever axis and drag it out. Alternatively, You could input values that you want into and change the size as well. You would always want to turn on uniform scale. Otherwise you risk of models being either too thick or too tiny or squashed. So you want to keep the uniform scale on. Next is a lay on face tool. We're gonna press on that one. What that will do, it will give us different planes, different faces that this model could lay on to the bed plate so that it could print in better quality. Let's have our goose laying down like this. In order for us to rotate it much faster than using a rotate tool, we could use lay on flat and click on its feet to make it stand upright. Or if we wanted to lay it back again, we'll rotate our camera view, select this face, and have it face down. The next tool is cut. Like as the tool describes, what this allows to do is cut the model into certain shape. Once you press on cut, it will generate this gray line. That's the plane that it's gonna cut at. This plane could be rotated into either x-axis or y-axis, like how we described before. We could add connectors, meaning like pegs. So there will be a plug, like pegs, or dowels that you could insert, or snaps for it to snap on to place. There are there's different styles and different shapes, or you can mess around with how deep, how big, and how much this connectors will look like. Once you like the orientation that you want to cut, you're going to press perform cut. Oh no, it is severed, but we're not gonna use it like this. So we're gonna press Control Z and bring its head back to where it was. The next tool are color and paint. On Bambu 3D printers, we could choose up to 4 different colors and color the duck in a different manner. You could always change the color on the left side. You could change the color either using default settings or pressing more colors and choose from the gradient below. Now that we look at the tools above, we're gonna look at the essential settings that we could use to start our 3D print. Over on your left side, this is where we change settings. First things first, this is the printer section. This is where you could change different printers that you might have, or in our case, we'll only have Bambu X1 carbon. So therefore, we're just gonna leave it as Bambu X1 carbon. For the texture, uh, this this is a different texture bit plate that you could use to have different results for your 3D prints. The nozzle, this is the settings for nozzle. Diameter of the nozzle, what really changes, it changes the detail of the print, additionally to how fine you want the detail to be. For example, if you want like a text within your model, it's more optimal for you to print the model in 0.2 nozzle. That way you preserve every little detail as the nozzle is smaller, so it will put more detail in there. Whereas 0.8 nozzle, you'll use that to build a geometric bigger shape, for example, like flower bases, so that you optimize printing in time and then so on. Over below where it says project filament, this is where you could change different material, either PLA or PTG, ABS, ACU, or TPU. We have various materials and fab lab that you could use. Oftentimes you will use PLA, and within PLA, you want to keep its temperature as how by default as this would work just fine. Next one is wall loop. What wall loop does is it increases the wall within the inside of the duck and then outside of the duck. So basically think of it as like a shell, how thick you want the shell to be. You would normally keep it as 2. The next setting is enable support. In what case you will need to enable support is when your model has like overhangs that is not touching the bit plate, or it is on a 45 degrees where you don't want the filament. Of course, filaments cannot print on a air, so you will need a support. Otherwise, the model will come out droopy and soggy, and we don't want that for our 3D print. So for this model, you want to turn on support. Next, we'll go to support and look at various settings here. Typically, you will use tree support as it is a lot easier to remove, but normal setting, the difference between normal and tree setting was normal, once you slice, it is this thin grid-like shape to hold the model in place, which sometimes it gets tedious to remove as it is difficult to get to certain areas of the 3D model. So you will want to keep it as tree support. And depending on your model, you would want either auto or manual. For manual support, you will use alternative tools, but 90% of the times you would want to use auto. Let's click on tree auto. I'm going to press slice plate. Now the support, unlike how it was on normal type, it resembles more of a tree branch. This support allows easy breaking off and a lot easier to clean up this 3D model. The next one is on build plate only. What this will do is it will only generate the support that starts from the build plate only. In what case would you want to turn this on? For example, if you have this, not this model specifically, but other models, it would generate supports in areas that you want to protect or it's unnecessary for support to be there. You're almost there. We're gonna press on other. If your model are thin or it's only touching the bed plate and a minimal space, then you will want to turn on brim. What brim will do, it will print few layers below to hold that 3D model secure while it's 3D printing above it. In our case, we're just gonna leave it in auto. Once it's done, you're gonna press slice plate. I've already sliced it, so I'm gonna go back to preview. Once you have sliced a model, please call the student assistant over to your workspace to record the total material that is going to be used and then the total time that it's going to take. Additionally, if all the settings is on properly for the models to be printed. From here, you will want to press this down arrow, export plated slide file. Click on that button. You will change the file name to your first initial and your last name, underscore what that object is. So lab boost, and you want to press save, and you want to save it under the USB that student assistant will provide to you, or micro SD that student assistant will provide to you. Once you have saved, you're good to go.